Welcome to episode 1 of What Does Corey Recommend? One of the most common questions I get each and every morning is about where do I recommend? Where do I recommend eating? What coffee do I recommend? Where do I recommend staying? So this is going to be a whole series giving you my recommendations. So be sure to watch all the episodes. So let's start with breakfast. Most important meal of the day. Where do I recommend? If you're in the historic district, I recommend first Huey's on River Street. Get the beignets and praline sauce. You'll thank me later. And then the other one for breakfast is Clary's. That's if you want that eggs, bacon, toast, like traditional breakfast. Huey's is on River Street. Clary's is located outside of Lafayette Square on Abercorn before you get to the square with no name. So those are my breakfast recommendations for historic Savannah. If you're on Tybee Island or somewhere else, Sunrise Breakfast is one of my favorite places. It's your traditional kind of small town breakfast place. If you're on Tybee, they do have one. So you're not a big breakfast eater? That's okay. We have coffee shops pretty much on every street corner. So let me tell you my top 5 coffee shops. Again, no particular order. Yes, there are tons of other coffee shops. These are my favorite 5. 1, Coffee Roasters. Savannah Coffee Roasters is located on Liberty Street across from the old Civic Center. If they have the cronut, get it. Oh my goodness, so good. Then you've got Gallery Espresso. That's located right off of Chippewa Square. They do from time to time have gluten-free options. You've got Maribel's, which we go to all the time. Home of the peach tea and the peach waffle. It is across from the Basilica at St. John's. Amazing atmosphere. Definitely check them out. Probably the friendliest staff across all of my recommendations. Then we have The Bean. That is what locals refer to it. It is outside of Forsyth Park, home of the famous chocolate peanut butter smoothie. And they do have gluten-free, vegan-friendly options there as well. And then my 5th and final coffee shop recommendation is a new one on kind of Savannah map. And it is called the Steve Door. It is located in our newest area called the Eastern Wharf, and it is amazing. So be sure to check that out. But those are my recommendations for breakfast and coffee. Be sure to watch episode 2 where we're going to hash out what about lunch? Where do we eat for that midday yummy? All right, we're back. Episode 2. We just talked about in episode 1 what my favorite coffee shops or breakfast places were in historic Savannah and on Tybee. So what I did forget was my favorite coffee shop on Tybee Island, which is Thai Bean Coffee. Check it out. Super amazing. So now let's hash it out and talk about lunchtime. Some people aren't breakfast eaters and just wait to lunch. Well, in the historic district, there is a plethora of places to eat. So let's get into it. So all of these recommendations for lunch are kid friendly. So feel good about taking your kids there too. It's not exclusive for adults. If you want some good pizza, check out Screamin' Mimi's off of Liberty Street. It's a little hole-in-the-wall pizza place. There's a few tables inside. There's a few tables outside, but it's not like this elaborate pizza restaurant. On the other side, if you're down on Tybee Island, go to Huckapoo's Pizza. You will thank me. Huckapoo's is the best pizza place anywhere in Savannah. Go down to Tybee Island, go to Huckapoo's, and thank me later. Southern food. People come to Savannah, and of course they want the Southern food. So we have Mrs. Wilkes over on Jones Street and Lady and Sons Restaurant, the Paula Deen Restaurant, over outside of City Market. Mrs. Wilkes, I have seen people start getting in line as early as 9:30 in the morning for an 11 o'clock open. They don't take reservations at either of those two restaurants. Lady and Sons does not either. So you may want to get in line a little bit early. Both are family style. The difference is Mrs. Wilkes, you sit with strangers and the food is brought to the table. So if you're good with that, check it out. Paula Deen's Lady and Sons is no longer a buffet. That changed in 2020. It is family style, all you care to eat. And we've gone through the menu a couple of times. Other yummy places that have some Southern food. Pirate's House has a buffet during the day. Great atmosphere, fun vibe, great food. Pink House is another yummy place. I would recommend older kids at Pink House than younger kids because it is more of a nicer type restaurant. However, at Pink House, you do need reservations. You can get lucky every once in a blue moon being there right at 11 o'clock and getting a table without a reservation, but they book up quick. Other recommendations of lunch in historic Savannah. You've got Hitch Spanky's on River Street, which is really good, home of the chicken fingers, and Spuds. Don't miss out on that. And so those are my lunch recommendations down in the historic district and the pizza in Tybee. So here we are, episode 3, dinner time. You made it through breakfast, you made it through coffee, you made it through lunch. Now we're at dinner. Now, all of the recommendations I gave you for lunch are great for dinner. Prices go up, but still good. So I'm going to give you a few more ideas when it comes to dinner in the historic district. So while we talked about the Pink House, Pirate's House, Spanky's, Hitch, all great suggestions, also check out Plant Riverside. There are a ton of outdoor restaurants. You could check out sushi, German, barbecue, seafood, great pizza, great choices on Plant Riverside. So head over there and just walk around to see what smells the best. A lot of people like seafood for dinner. So these are also my top seafood recommendations when it comes to historic district. Vic's is one of the top places in the historic district. But if you head down to Tybee Island, your seafood choices are Stingrays or Crab Shack. I recommend Stingrays over the Crab Shack, but those are two popular seafood locations. Other recommendations when it comes to seafood, you've got the Chart House in historic Savannah. So along River Street, you've got a variety of choices when it comes to restaurants. Other choices during dinner, and actually you could do it during lunch as well. One is Zunzi's if you want a more casual atmosphere. That's Zunzi. It's right outside of Chippewa Square. Super interesting flair. Mashed potato bowl is amazing. The Conquistador is a big sandwich. That is amazing as well. And then also in Chippewa Square is called Fire Street. It's like Asian fusion food. Definitely check them out. Great frozen bubble tea as well. If you haven't ever had bubble tea, you definitely should. All right, welcome to episode 4 of What Does Corey Recommend While Here in Savannah? So we talked about breakfast, lunch, dinner, and coffee. What about where do I stay? Savannah has a variety of places to stay, so let's get into it. I always recommend stay in historic Savannah. If you fly in, you can Uber into the historic district to your hotel. You don't need a car. If you're in the historic district and you have a car, once you park it at the hotel, you're not going to move it unless you're going down to Tybee Island or to one of the cemeteries. That's when you'll need transportation. In the historic district, we have every chain you can imagine. My top ones are the JW Marriott at Plant Riverside, the Hyatt, which runs along River Street. The mansion at Forsyth is amazing. That's another one of my favorite ones. So those are top recommendations. We also have Airbnbs that you can rent. So if your party's bigger, you're probably going to come out cheaper to rent an Airbnb or VRBO, which is a rental of a home. The Eliza Thompson House on Jones Street is a bed and breakfast. The Hamilton Turner Inn, a bed and breakfast. We have tons of bed and breakfasts all throughout the historic district. But what's really great about the historic district is if you have points at like Marriott's or Hyatt's or Holiday Inns or anything like that, you could probably use them. So check out all the chain hotels if you have points accumulated. Save you some money. Now, here's another tip. If you have dates in your mind, book early and watch the rate. 9 times out of 10, the closer you get to a trip, the more the rates are going to increase. Now, yes, we have hotels outside of the historic district. You could save money. Yes, you're going to pay to park in any hotel in the vast majority of Savannah. There is an overnight parking rate that is built into your bill. But you also have to remember, especially in the historic district, you see this shock of, oh my gosh, I'm getting charged an extra $40 a night to park. Well, depending on where that hotel is, you're probably paying $2 an hour. So you're not really losing money. It's just you're paying for the entire day at one lump sum. Tybee does have hotels. None are really like fancy 5-star hotels, and I always recommend, unless you're going specifically for the beach, don't stay on Tybee. Because if there's a wreck, we've got one road into Tybee, one road out. You're going to sit in traffic for the vast majority of your vacation. And nobody wants to do that. The mansion at Forsyth is another amazing recommendation over at Forsyth Park. But again, if hotels aren't your thing, we've got the bed and breakfasts throughout the historic district, and we've got rentals There's a plethora. So email me if you have questions about where you're looking at booking. I'm more than happy to help. All right, here we are, episode 5. We've gone through where to eat. We've gone through where to stay. Now let's talk about where to play. I get comments from time to time in my live about, oh, Savannah's so boring, there's nothing to do. If you leave Savannah feeling that way, you've done Savannah wrong. So let's start with the most obvious, the beach. Tybee Island is the beach in Savannah. If it happens to be raining and you can't do a beach day, check out the pottery place there. It's called Glazed and Confused. It's right across from Huckapoo's in the Tybee Coffee Shop. Great little vibe and a great way to spend a rainy day. In the historic district, if you're able to walk and enjoy the sights, the sounds. There's a free trolley that's purple and green that you can ride throughout the historic district to get a lay of the land and see a lot of the things. Also, an amazing thing to do that's one of my favorite things is on River Street, there is a free ferry that you can get on right below City Hall, right across the river and down the river and back. It's very relaxing and a lot of fun to be on the river. Go over to Plant Riverside at the JW Marriott and check out the fossils. There's big dinosaurs and fossils throughout a hotel lobby. So check those out. Plant Riverside, especially during the holiday seasons, have little shops you can shop at that are not normally there. So if you're here during the holidays, definitely go over to Christmas time at Plant Riverside. Then, of course, entertainment. You have your tours. You have a plethora of tour companies from segways to trolleys to bicycles and walking and more. So if you want a tour, do one of those. They're a great way to spend the day and kind of get a lay of the land and hear some interesting facts about Savannah. If shopping's your forte, River Street, Plant Riverside, and Broughton Street are prime shopping locations. So spend the day on Broughton Street shopping at some high-end shops and some local shops and take home some really cool things. So that comes around to, well, how long should I book a trip to Savannah? If you come for 4 days, you're going to be able to do a lot in 4 days. 2 days in the historic district, 1 day in the beaches, and then you've got your travel time. Also, if you have time, I recommend going and checking out our cemeteries. Bonaventure, of course, is the most visited one by tourists, and it is beautiful, especially during the spring. Or go to Laurel Grove. Laurel Grove is another really cool cemetery that doesn't get a lot of attention, but has a lot of history packed into it. Other free things, you've got the Basilica of St. John's. If there's not a red sign outside, hop in there, check out that beauty. Bring a blanket if you've got kids, bring some toys, go to Forsyth Park, set up for a picnic. There's playgrounds, spend the day outside. So those are some of my top recommendations to do while you're in Savannah. All right, so welcome to episode 6 of Recommendations with Corey. So these are recommendations of things as a local that I tell people who are coming to Savannah to vacation to check out. If you haven't checked out my other videos, we talk breakfast, coffee shops, lunch, dinner, where to stay, and where to play. And this episode's going to be on how to travel through Savannah. And quite honestly, you can do Savannah without having access to a vehicle if you fly into our local airport, an Uber or what have you to the hotel you're staying at. That's why we talk about why it's so important to stay at a hotel in the historic district on your vacation. So once you get to your hotel, hopefully in the historic district, there are a number of ways you can learn all about Savannah. We've got walking tours, bicycle tours, Segway tours, horse tours where you're on a horse carriage, trolley tours. I mean, you name it, we have it. If you're into the paranormal, you can even ride in a hearse for a tour. Don't really care about an actual tour learning facts? Then you can ride the free trolley throughout historic Savannah. Water's your thing? You've got the free ferry you can ride on River Street, or you have the paid giant ferry boat you can ride that you can do what's called the riverboat cruise. So average price, not talking about the riverboat cruise on River Street, but the average price for a tour seems to be ranging between anywhere between $25 to $40 is what I have seen. Now with that, some are more expensive, some are cheaper. You just have to find a price point that works for you. but not all tours are created equal. So make sure you do your research about the tour company, the tour guide if you're doing a private tour. And if you pay online, please make sure you have contact information of that tour guide. There are scams that go around Savannah scamming people out of money and never showing up for their tour. Want to check out places like Tybee Island, Wormslow, or Oatland Island, then there is a company called Savannah Shuttle and Tours that at a lot of the hotels in historic Savannah, there's a coupon that they will take you for free from your hotel in the historic district to one of those destinations. So want to check out Bonaventure, you've got Savannah Dash Tours, you've got Wise Guy Tours, and on Saturday and Sundays after 2 o'clock, the Historical Society of Bonaventure often provide free tours, and they will have signs up there telling you that. So there are a number of ways to see and do a ton in Savannah during your time here and learn the most about this beautiful city. So enjoy your time here. All right, so let's dig into episode 7, which is the discussion of renting and buying in Savannah. Another crazy question I get asked multiple times during a live. People want to know rent prices. People want to know where to live, where to buy, all the things. So let's get into it in 3 minutes or less. So every morning you see me in the historic district, but Savannah is part of a bigger community. We are part of what's called Chatham County. These are the places that are part of Chatham County. You have Tybee Island, you have Wilmington Island, you have Whitmarsh Island, you have Tullahee Island. You also have Thunderbolt. You have Midtown. You have Kensington Park, you have the Starland District, you have the South Side, you have Georgetown. You also have Pooler, Port Wentworth, and Garden City. All of this encompasses Chatham County, which is where Savannah is located. So when people ask me, where do I recommend moving? The first question is, what is your budget? Are you wanting to rent? Are you wanting to buy? Average rent price just by a Google search shows me that rent is anywhere from about $1,800 to $2,000 all the way up to $3,000 depending on location. Anywhere cheaper than that may not be an area you want to live. Now, am I saying you can't find something cheaper than that? Absolutely not. In the historic district, SCAD parents buy houses there. Their kids use a room and rent out the other rooms. And you can get lucky if you just need one bedroom and get a really amazing deal down in the historic district. But renting anywhere around here right now comes with a price tag. So what about buying real estate? Well, again, that's going to be determined based off of your budget. Average price tag going on right now in Savannah is over the $400,000 mark. Historic district skyrockets with average pricing over the $1 million point. And if you want to live on the beach, you're looking at anywhere from $750,000 all the way over $1 million. So like I said, the price points are pretty high right now here because it's such a sought after community. So we also have 2 other districts that surround Chatham County, which is where Savannah is. We have Bryan County and we have Effingham County. So those are 2 up and coming areas that a lot of people are moving because honestly, they can't afford the real estate here in Savannah. But truth be told, real estate's starting to skyrocket there too. In February, average prices for houses there, again, were well over that $300,000 mark. Now, that's not saying you may not find something a little bit cheaper. You could. There's always those one-off scenarios that play out. So if you're looking at moving here, my recommendation, establish a budget first. Then what are your needs and desires in living here? And third, get you a good real estate agent. All right, so welcome to episode 8 of Recommendations with Corey. Today we're going to cover where can you go shopping? That's a common question I get asked in my live each morning of, hey, I want to do some shopping outside of like tourist shops. Where's a great place to go? So we're going to break it all down in this episode. All right, so let's start first with thrift stores. That's a common question. That and vintage shops. So when we're talking about thrift stores, we have Goodwills all over Savannah, Salvation Army, House of Bargain. There's one on Bull Street. All of those are great recommendations when you're looking for thrifting. But if you're looking more for like that vintage feel, there are 3 stores I recommend. So you have Vintage Vortex over on Bull Street, which is a really cool vibe. You've got House of Strut over on State Street, which is a really neat place. And then my favorite over in Wright Square, but it does have strange hours, so be sure to check it out, is called Wright Square Vintage and Retro Mall. So check those out. Vintage and thrift, not your thing, and you want some more kind of traditional shopping, you've got a couple of recommendations or areas you can go to in Savannah. First, if you're in the historic district, Broughton Street is full of different shops, from H&M and Gap to Frankie and June, and then some other little local flair vibes. Also, about 20 minutes away from the historic district is Tanger Outlet in Pooler, Georgia. If you're down on Tybee and you're at Huckapoo's grabbing a bite to eat, check out the cute little shops that are in that little shopping area. We, of course, have a mall here in Savannah called the Oglethorpe Mall. I know, yes, Oglethorpe. But that's another option, too, if you want to do some traditional mall shopping. Christmas stores, candy shops, you'll find those on River Street. Also, a ton of different tourist shops are on River Street. So anything you want with the name Savannah on it, you can find there. Are you into the antique vibe? We've got plenty of antique shops. However, their hours can be a little strange. So I always recommend checking Google out first for current hours. My favorite antique is going to be Picker Joe's over on 41st Street. It's got just a really unique flair. Then you have Taylor House Antiques. That's over on Taylor Street. Again, most of them close by 5 o'clock each day, if not earlier. Then you have Arthur Smith Antique. That's over on Bull Street. Check them out. They open usually most mornings starting at 10 a.m. So as you can see, we have a variety of shopping to meet most people's needs. So if the guys are going for a golfing day, which most guys do out here, and you want to get some shopping in, you've got multiple places you can go and shop till you drop. Welcome to episode 9 of recommendations that I recommend as a local being here in Savannah, Georgia. So another common question I get asked is, what do we do with kids? We've got kids. They're not going to walk 5 miles through all the squares. So what do you recommend? So let's break it down. And I'm going to give you suggestions from little ones all the way up to the teenagers. So if the weather's warm, I'm always going to recommend Tybee Island. Take a day trip out there. The beach is going to entertain every age. There's also a number of things you can do out at Tybee besides just go to the beach. Tybee Island Marine Center is amazing. Go check it out. It's our newest facility. They've just rebuilt it. It's over in North Beach, and the kids will definitely be entertained by that. All ages. You will be too. But let's say you're not into the beach and you'd rather just stay in the historic district. So there are a number of things you can do there, from things that are almost free to things that are going to have a price tag. One thing I always recommend to anybody traveling to Savannah with kids, especially if you're in your car, put in your trunk, find space and put a blanket, some outdoor toys like balls, volleyballs, things like that. Trust me, you won't be sorry. One of my favorite things to do on a warm day with kids, any age, is head down to Forsyth Park. You can set up your blanket in these big open fields. There's 2 playgrounds. There's a coffee window. So there's tons to do, and spend the day in the outdoors. You'll hear music playing on the weekend. There's a farmer's market on Saturdays from 9 to 1. And you can just really set up a whole picnic area for the entire day. Now, if you have kids under, I would say about the age of 10, check out the Savannah Children's Museum. It is really fun, especially for the younger kids. They will be entertained for hours. And if you've got kids that are into trains, I don't care what age, go to the Savannah Railroad Museum. It's right next to the Children's Museum. It is really cool to check out. Now, if your kid's into boats, head down to River Street, especially in the morning. That's when you're going to see the container ships come through the most. But do a free ferry ride. There is a ferry that docks underneath City Hall. It goes across the river and down the river and back. And it is a ton of fun to ride for free on the river of Savannah. Now, if it's warm enough, we do have splash pads throughout Savannah. One is outside City Market. Then there's one in Plant Riverside. Actually, there's 2 in Plant Riverside. So always have a change of clothes if your kids like to run in the water. Here's a tip that will save you some time at Leopold's. If you go in the left door, even when there's a line, they have pints of different ice cream flavors for sale. You can bypass the line, go get you a pint of ice cream, get you some spoons, go sit in the squares and enjoy your day, especially if your kids can't handle the long lines that you'll see at Leopold's. So I hope these tips help. Bye. Hey, howdy, hey, welcome to another recommendation video with yours truly, A Day in the Life of Corey. I get asked every day about what museums I would recommend, so let's get into it. Now first, when it comes to prices of museums, the prices vary. There are combo tickets you can get. We even have a free museum day. So the prices are gonna vary. So we're not gonna really get into prices during this video. So first, let's start if you have kids. Here are my 3 recommendations for museums if you have younger ones. You've got the Children's Museum, and right next door to the Children's Museum is the Railroad Museum in historic Savannah. Then on Tybee Island, we actually have a science center there. All 3 of those are really awesome, so you should check those out if you have little ones. Want to check out a really unique museum? Go check out the Prohibition Museum in City Market. It's the only one of its kind anywhere in the country. I have a whole video from the other day showing the Prohibition Museum. It was a lot of fun. So when it comes to pop culture, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil probably ranks up there as the highest within Savannah. So there are 2 places you can go visit when it comes to museums that are connected to that movie and that book. So if Midnight's your thing, you're going to want to go to the Telfair Museum. That's where the Bird Girl is located. And you can tour the bottom floor of the Mercer Williams home where all the events actually happened. Into the forts, you've got Fort Pulaski going down to Tybee Island and Old Fort Jackson. Both of those are a lot of fun as well. Know someone who goes to SCAD? Check out the SCAD story. It's free and it's a must if you know anybody or if you're looking at going to SCAD. If you're into the military, the Webb Military Museum is a must-do. Into boats, check out the Ships of the Sea Maritime Museum. We walked by there this morning on our morning walk. Head over to the Owen Thomas House or the Davenport House to walk the hallways where some of our founding fathers lived. Also, they're said to have some bumps in the night. So know a Girl Scout or you were a Girl Scout? Then check out these 2 museums. First, you've got Juliette Gordon Lowe's birthplace, so you want to go there first, and then the Andrew Lowe House, which was the Girl Scouts headquarters. Outside of the historic district, you have some museums or some excursions you can go on as well. So heading down to Tybee, and your kids love animals, check out Oatland Island. It's an animal rehabilitation center. It's a lot of fun. You should definitely check that out. And then University of Georgia actually has an aquarium on the south side of Savannah that you can check out as well. So whether it's history, planes, trains, automobiles, ghosts, or more, we have a museum or an exhibit for everybody. So be sure to check them out while you're here in Savannah. Welcome to Recommendations by me, A Day in the Life of Corey, Tybee edition. There's a lot to unpack here about Tybee Island, which is the beach for Savannah. So let's get into it. So let's start with parking. Parking Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is $4 an hour. You have to pay that unless you're staying at a hotel or you've rented somewhere down there. And yes, you will get a ticket if you don't pay to park. So let's talk about getting there. If you're not staying on Tybee, there's one road into Tybee, one road out. And on a warm day, traffic can be a bear. For those of you not from the South, that just means it could be really, really bad. So you're staying on Tybee. Where do you stay? First, we have a number of hotels on Tybee Island. None are super fancy, so if you're looking for like that 5-star experience, you're not going to get it. There are 2 hotels that face the beach, the DeSoto and Hotel Tybee. So you can't get an oceanfront room, except that's kind of debatable because there is a parking lot between you and the beach. The Admiral Inn is another great option to stay at. If you're wanting to rent a house, I recommend checking out Tybee Beach Vacation Rentals. It's a website. It's a company there. They have a lot of the rentals on the island. On season, you're looking at least $275 or higher a night. You may find something cheaper, but that's on average. You're looking at least $275 or higher. And I'm talking like much higher. So let's talk about where to eat. Again, these are just my recommendations. There's an abundance of restaurants to eat at on Tybee. However, there are no fast food restaurants on Tybee Island. So for breakfast, I recommend Tybee Coffee Shop. I recommend Breakfast Club sometimes, and I recommend Sunrise Breakfast. Those are the 3 breakfast go-to places on Tybee. So let's talk lunch or dinner. You've got Huckapoos, you've got Zunzi's, you've got Spanky's, you've got AJ's, you've got Stingrays, you've got the Crab Shack, plus many, many more. Those are just my recommendations. Also, if you didn't know, Tybee operates on something called Tybee time. That means they operate much slower than the rest of the world. No, really, they do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're chilling out on the beach. What do you expect? So what are some things to do while on Tybee? You can climb to the top of the lighthouse. You can go to the Marine Science Center. You can go paint pottery in the same little shopping area as Huckapoo's and Tybee at a place called Glazed and Confused. You can do some shopping at some cute little shops down on Tybee. If you've got kids, there's a great little playground behind the library on Tybee Island. There is also a little grocery store on Tybee Island. It's been there forever and ever, called the IGA. It does have your bare minimals of things you would need at a grocery store. So those are my recommendations for Tybee Island. Don't forget, we do operate on what's called Tybee time. So enjoy your time at the beach. But like I say, if you're not a beach person, stay in the historic district. So outside of March, October is the busiest month for Savannah due to the festivals and events we have going on. Not all of them surround Halloween, but we have a lot happening here during the month of October. Now, this is not a complete list. There's a lot more going on, but here's some of the big things we have happening in October. And a lot of you have said you're coming to visit. There's probably a festival happening when you're here. Like, really, there probably is. Check it out. One of my favorite events happens the morning of October 7th at Forsyth Park. It's called the Buddy Walk. It is for families of children and teens and adults who have Down syndrome, and it's to bring awareness to everybody. It is such an amazing event. Be sure to check it out. I know I will. Also, October 7th, you've got Oktoberfest at Plant Riverside and the Wiener Dog Race down there. So head over to River Street and head down to Plant Riverside. But that's not all we have going on October 7th. Or that weekend. On the night of October 7th in Forsyth Park, we have Fill in the Park. Get there early, have a picnic, beautiful music, a lot of fun. Don't miss that. But it's super crowded. Also, the weekend of October 5th, 6th, and 7th is the Savannah Greek Festival. Talk about yummy food and music, culture, and fun. For more information, just search Savannah Greek Festival. You don't want to miss this event. But the vibes of historic Savannah not your thing that weekend, head down to Tybee Island because October 5th through the 7th is also Tybee Island's annual Pirates Festival. Don't be surprised if you see Captain Jack Sparrow wandering around the island, or multiple Captain Jack Sparrows for that fact. And yes, they do make their way to historic Savannah at some point on the weekend. So things quiet down a little bit for the weekend of the 14th, and then they ramp up again the following week. Check it out. Are you a seafood fan? I know a ton of you are because you always ask me about seafood in Savannah. Head over to Richmond Hills, about a 35-minute drive from the historic district, and go to the 24th annual Great Ogeechee Seafood Festival. It is a huge turnout, a huge event, lots of yummy seafood if you're not allergic like me. Also happening the weekend of the 20th through the 21st is Savannah Pride 2023. Lots of events happening throughout the historic district, so check it out. Isla Hope's even getting in all the fun, and they're going to be hosting an art and music festival on October 21st. So head over to Isla Hope. It's so pretty out there anyway, but man, art and music along with it, that should be fun. Another fan favorite and a personal favorite of mine on October 21st and 22nd is Wagaween. That is the trick-or-treating for your dogs. It is so much fun. Yes, people dress up their cats too. We will definitely be there. If not one day, both days. And it's all over historic Savannah. It is such a fun event. October 21st through the 28th is the SCAD Film Festival. And with the strike looking like it's ending, this is going to be a blast. People watching is a must because you really never know who you might see. Last year, Miles Teller was here from Maverick. They haven't announced who the celebrities are that are going to be here for the film festival, but I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Want to experience a Halloween on the Georgia Queen? You can do that on October 28th. Information is below. You can ride the Savannah River on the Georgia Queen and be all spooky. One of the big tour guides in Savannah, Shannon Scott, is going to be doing the 5 nights of Halloween, the 27th through the 31st. Tours at night at Bonaventure. So if you're into that, check it out. That is, of course, if you're not at the Matt Rife show on the 28th. I don't have tickets. They sold out. But I'll still be looking for Matt. Matt, please come out of your trailer the day of the 28th. Wave at me from a distance, please. So like I said, there's a lot happening. And this is only a small portion of some of the big events happening in October. I'm sure there's a ton more. But anyway, if you're here in October and see me, be sure to say hello and have fun. There really is nowhere else like Halloween in Savannah, or October in Savannah for that fact, or really any day in Savannah. Bye.
Here are 10 ways to beat the heat here in Savannah, Georgia this summer. Number 1, beat the heat by taking a trolley tour and visiting our museums. I have a whole video on museums to check out, but check out tourpass.com. It gives you a great rate. Head an hour up the road to our closest water park. It's called Splash in the Borough. It's in Statesboro. 3, we do have splash pads in Plant Riverside, Ellis Square, and sometimes Forsyth Park. Run through them. We have a giant ocean called Tybee Island. Go spend the day at Tybee to beat the heat. Number 4, if it's too hot, head over to Glazed and Confused and paint some pottery on Tybee Island. Don't miss out on Leopold's ice cream. Yes, the line is always long, but it does move fast and you won't regret it. Try the Savannah Socialite. Go see a live stage show at the Savannah Theater. You won't regret it. Get out early in the morning. Be sure to hydrate. The earlier the better, because then it's not as hot. Then we do have a public pool that you can check out called the Chatham County Aquatic Center. So check that out if you need a pool. And then shopping on Broughton Street. These are ways to avoid the heat in Savannah. Bye.
Come along with me as we spend the morning with our friends over at One Fish, Two Fish. Located at the corner of Whitaker and Jones Street, this is located right next door to Mrs. Wilkes, right around the corner from Forsyth Park, and right along the free trolley line. If you're driving, be sure to utilize their free parking right in front of the annex, which is also part of One Fish, Two Fish. Y'all know how I love history. This building actually used to be an old-timey gas station, and now it's part of One Fish, Two Fish. Here you're going to find clothes, furniture, light fixtures, and more, so definitely come over and check this part of it out. Then we're going to head over across the street to the main building of One Fish, Two Fish. So I get asked 2 questions every day during a live. 1 is, where can I purchase a unique gift for somebody? And 2 is, where can I go shopping when I come to town? You have to check One Fish, Two Fish out. They have everything from bags to clothes to candles to home goods and accessories. You name it, they have it. This really is an experience from the time you arrive till the time you leave. Y'all know one of my big things is customer service. Their staff is absolutely amazing. They are so friendly, they are so welcoming, and they really help you find that perfect gift for somebody or that perfect item for you. Can we take a second and look at these amazing plates and bowls? I'm obsessed with those. And y'all know I love a good pillow. I mean, like, for real. Y'all, this made my senses happy. The smells, the views, just the overall vibe of this whole building just makes you want to stay in here all day long. And we talked about unique items. Check this out. That's a cracker dish. Apparently, it's a hot selling item where people put crackers in it to eat. And can we talk about the satin PJs? Y'all, these were so soft. I'm going to have to get me a pair. There's my favorite dishes again. I love these dishes, for real. And this color screams summer to me. Anybody else just totally loving the lime this summer? Where are my handbag ladies? Y'all, they have the most unique and extraordinary bags. Like, if you love a good handbag that not everybody's going to have, you got to come check them out. Another really cool thing they do here are private sip and see events where you can come and have a private shopping experience. Like, it's so cool. And then the best thing yet, you can experience One Fish, Two Fish from the comfort of your home. If you head over to their website, which is onefishstore.com, enter the code Corey10, you can buy anything and get it 10% off. How amazing is that? Again, thank you One Fish, Two Fish for inviting me. It was amazing. So today I met up with some of my most favorite people, all who I met through TikTok. We decided to meet up at one of the most famous places to eat here in Savannah, the Pirate's House. If you didn't know, Monday through Friday, they do have a Southern buffet that you can eat. Hello, strange pirate cutouts in the window. Remember to look up. So the Pirate's House is actually the oldest building in the historic district. And yes, there are even tunnels but you can't actually go down in the tunnels. But see, high tunnel, there's one. Oh look, another one. Oh look, even another one. They're everywhere. So the old Pirate's House is associated with the Story Treasure Island from 1734. Remember again, Savannah was founded in 1733. So there is definitely some history when it comes to the Pirate's House. So just waiting around for the rest of the crew to show up. Y'all, look at this house. It's right next door to the Pirate's House. I am obsessed with it. It's so pretty. Hello, Mr. Pirate. How are you today? So the crew showed up. Ashley, Trey, Jeff, and Kim all together for some fun at the Pirate's House. See me? I had my little patriotic red, white, and not blue shirt. Oh, look, another tunnel. But let's check out this buffet because it is a cool thing that they have here at the Pirate's House. They also have a regular menu as well that you could choose from if you're not a buffet kind of person. The buffet is truly all the southern fixins, from green beans to okra to mac and cheese and sweet potatoes. I love a good mac and cheese. Look at all that yumminess. Then you've got, of course, you've got your chicken, bacon, fried. You got some mashed potatoes and gravy. You got some catfish. Again, all you can eat. They do have a regular menu if you're not a buffet kind of person. There's my veggie plate. Some good food. But there's nothing better than spending a holiday with some of your favorite people. So whatever you're doing today, I hope you have a great 4th of July. Bye.
Here are 11 free or cheap things to do here in Savannah. Number 1, take the free trolley. It is not a tour trolley, but it does show you the historic district and the Starland district. And there's a free ferry that you can ride that boards at City Hall, that you can see River Street from the water. Then go to Forsyth Park. Hang out at the playgrounds, enjoy the views, spend the day outside. Don't forget to check out our 23 squares plus 2 half squares, so much history there. Head over to Bonaventure Cemetery, especially if you love cemeteries. If you're over by the Basilica and there's not a red sign, go in and check it out. It's absolutely breathtaking. And if you're a former Girl Scout, you definitely want to go to Laurel Grove Cemetery because that is where the Lowe family is buried, amongst others. Head down to River Street Sweets, get you a couple of praline samples, and if they're making taffy, they'll probably throw you some. Head down to Tybee Island. It is $4 an hour to park, but you can't miss the beach. Go on some scavenger hunts. I'm actually developing a few that are going to be up for sale soon. And then go to the SCAD store, the original building for SCAD, and learn what Savannah was like before SCAD came by.